here with Amazing Love Sanctuary in my office with Living in Love and Grace. So I thought I would get on here just for a little while and share some thoughts with you as we kind of wrapped up Holy Week and wondering how you felt, how you made it through Holy Week. It's always challenging. Some of you may have practiced some fasting, incorporated some spiritual practices into your daily life. I noticed that there was a lot of it's something I've never seen before, but a lot of dialogue, a lot of struggle with people regarding the resurrection. It was a big deal. Some people really struggle with the resurrection in their spiritual journey, in their faith, whether it's a real event or a fabricated event, or just something that's really hard to grasp when it comes to faith. And I noticed it more this year than I have ever before. And so I was really kind of wondering how people were dealing with that and how they were getting through that and how they were facing that whole idea of resurrection of Jesus. And it's one of those things that many of us probably take for granted and don't really put a lot of time and thought into it. I don't. I just assume it's a part of my faith practice. It's part of my daily confession. And so, but I noticed some people got very angry about it. Some people got very disturbed with it. Some people got hostile even. And then some people were just genuinely questioning the resurrection, what it meant to us, what it meant to them, and how they could face it from day to day and moment to moment. And I understand that. And I didn't feel like I needed to jump into the discussion. I just wanted to acknowledge that for many people, it's a real leap of faith in their deconstruction of what we believe as progressive Christians, and that's one of them. That's a big one. So the resurrection of Jesus, and I listened to teaching after teaching throughout the last week regarding the resurrection. Some were, this is it. It's a historical event. It really happened. To some that genuinely question, did it happen? How do I react as a Christian, as a spiritual person? What does that mean to me? That's a big one. I think it's one that each person has to answer themselves. For me, it's just a part of my, like I said, it's part of my daily confession as a Christian. As a progressive Christian, I respect the question about this historical event. Anyway, I wanted to share thoughts with you about the resurrection. And one of my favorites is always from Brennan Manning. And this is from his daily devotion. So I put it up there. You can see Reflections for Ragamuffins. I always get them. I like them. It's a part of my devotional practice that I do regularly. So I love reading it to you. So on April 20th, it's written in the devotion, the present power of his resurrection. He writes, if the central saving act of Christian faith is relegated to the future, with the fervent hope that Christ's resurrection is the pledge of our own, and that one day we will reign with him in glory, then the risen one is pushed safely out of the present. Limiting the resurrection either to the past or to the future makes the present risenness, that's an interesting word, the present risenness of Jesus largely irrelevant. It safeguards us from the interference of the ordinary rounds and the daily routine of our lives, and preempts communion now with Jesus as a living person. In other words, and I really like this, the resurrection needs to be experienced as present risenness. Let me read that again. The resurrection needs to be experienced as present risenness. Are you experiencing the resurrection in your life? Are you experiencing risenness in your life? I hope so. Kind of reminds me when I was pastoring in a little community in Minnesota over 30 years ago. And I grew up in the city. I grew up in Denver, so I really wasn't too focused on the change of or the spring. But I noticed pastoring in this little rural farm community. I was driving one day. I was preaching in two different churches, so I had to drive between two towns. And I remember, and I've shared this story with you before, but I remember seeing the soil being tilled in the spring. And just the powerful aroma of dirt, of farm dirt, of soil was overwhelming. It was such a real experience. And even to this day, that has never left me. How beautiful freshness is. And in the midst of that turning of the soil was risenness. Because there couldn't be life until that soil was turned. And the living soil, the live soil, had to be turned to be up, and then they could plow it and they could plant and everything. But it was such a powerful experience for me, especially growing up in the city. I mean, we planted a garden. My grandfather always planted a garden. But just to see the smell, because it was acres and acres of beautiful, fresh soil. Pretty overwhelming. And I look back on it now, and especially reading this passage this devotion by Brendan Manning, I experienced risenness. And you only experience risenness when the soil of your heart and your life is being turned over, and turned over, and turned over. Some people are very keenly aware of that turning of spiritual soil, that turning of the soul, the soil of your soul. And so I love that. And we take seriously the word. When you do that, you take seriously the word of the risen Christ, that I am with you always. So I kind of look at resurrection this way, this risenness. That we should expect Jesus is active and present in our lives every day. If our faith and our spiritual journey is alive and luminous, that's a good word, luminous, we will be alert to moments, events, and occasions when the power of resurrection is brought to bear on our lives. Are you experiencing risenness? Are we experiencing risenness in our lives? Or are we so self-absorbed with everything around us, and so unfocused and inattentive that we fail to notice the things that are alive and fresh. We fail to notice the smell of fresh dirt, of soil. Maybe that's what God is trying to do, is snag our attention. I always love those who love to be. I'm not a big outdoor person, but I admire those people that love to be outdoors and love to be in the forest and love to be in the soil and the dirt, and they're connected to that risenness in the ground. My challenge to you and I today is to let the Spirit snag our attention, experience the risenness of life around you, the risenness of Jesus around you, the risenness of your heart. So whether it's finding time and a moment in prayer, or a moment in meditation, but I challenge you and encourage you to experience risenness in your life. Scripture says, give thanks to the Lord. He is good, and his love endures forever. I hope these words touch your heart today. It's easy to get distracted and wrapped up in busyness of life and everything around us. I want to encourage you to experience risenness in your life today. It's beautiful. I know you'll love it. So I hope you had a good Lent. I hope it wasn't just 40 days of torture. I hope it was something where you experienced love and grace. You experienced something alive and real in your heart. I just think there's something beautiful in this. So I just want to encourage you to set yourself aside, experiencing something new and fresh and alive in your life. I know you'll be blessed. Don't forget to share this video. I know it's important to us. Somewhere we're working on getting more familiar with YouTube and everything, but share the video. There's somewhere and there's an ability to subscribe. Let us know that you're watching this and it means something to you. If you're open to it, I encourage you to support this ministry. You can support us at Venmo at Reverend Sam Lopez. But I just really want to encourage you to be blessed, experiencing some risenness in your life today. Let the Spirit turn that soil of your heart and let something fresh and new become birthed in you. I know you'll love it. I know it'll touch your life and touch your heart. And I'll try to get on here, but I hope you had a good Lent. We had an amazing Easter service here at Amazing Love Sanctuary. And I'll get on our Amazing Love Sanctuary channel and do an announcement. We have a very special service coming up on Sunday, an ordination service, which always means a lot to me. But Anyway, I hope you're blessed. I hope that you had a great Easter season, Holy Week, Lent, um, that it touched your life in some way. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. God bless.